Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft bringing some more Korean Starcraft games, going through the replay packs, picking out the ones I think are going to be cool. And this one has DRG and Fantasy. I actually casted a couple games of Fantasies recently. He's been very impressive. So I hope he keeps with it and we see a little bit more of him. Some of the bigger tournaments, unfortunately being one of the better Korean players. You don't often see some of these, Kespa players leaving to go play North American tournaments or anything like that. And that's a little bit of a shame. But what are you going to do? I was about to wonder where that SU was going for a second there, and then I realized I don't have to be an idiot. It's just going to go make a supply depot. Well, I was kind of hoping it'd go and do something kind of funky, though. I don't expect that to be the case. Both of these players are extremely talented. I don't have any doubt that DRG wants to play a fairly strong macro game, using his really great mid-late game mechanics to just overwhelm his opponents. This is on Dongraegu Beach. You'll only really see this used in those Korean pro games. Checking off some proxies. I don't think I've ever seen a proxy on this map. Kind of funky. I'm not a huge fan of it. I've tried it a few times just to have a bit of fun. But I think there's some pretty good advantages for a Terran over a Zerg on this map. I mean, base-wise, because it's so tight, it obviously allows for some pretty easy expansion and creep movement between all these four bases. You can just build a really nice hub that allows you to defend well. These rocks here, these unit name unbuildable rock destructibles, are not that hard to get down out of the way. But there's some really interesting chokes that come in through this map, because you can't go past these. Is that a CC first? Yes, it was. You can't go past these lawn chairs and also beach chairs and umbrellas. So you get to see some really good movements where Terran players can really try to sandwich any type of Zerg defense right through here and create really big problems for trying to delay these attacks that come at them. Third hatch before pool. As I would have expected, DRG is going to go heavy macro. And it probably wouldn't surprise me to see a third command center go down here fairly soon. He has not scouted yet, but as soon as he comes down here and sees the timing of these expansions, I'm sure he's going to feel pretty comfortable in playing that way. I don't see him really wanting to open up into any type of really aggressive push. I would be really happy to see something like maybe a marauder Hellion play, but that's not really in style these days. Just something that can kind of punish this. But that's not likely to be the case. Next orbital on the way. Gonna be doing alright. I'm actually, you guys should be so proud of me. I'm just drinking myself some water right now. I have a soccer game coming up here in the next little bit, so it's no beers for Shawnee at the moment. Kind of a lazy weekend. Had the opportunity to go through a lot of replays and look for some good games to go through. And it has been enjoyable. Is that like, I think that's the first attacking unit for the Terran player, and the Zerg player doesn't have a single attacking unit yet. It's not too often when you're playing in the lower leagues you can really have these kind of openings. As soon as a player sees somebody go macro, it's just like immediately triggers you to want to go crush their face, as opposed to getting any type of actual strong economy play. Nobody's really that great at the late games, so seeing these openings, these like 5-minute no offense whatsoever kind of games are quite fun to watch. Yeah, just was there a second marine even made over here? No, I think it was just the one. We do see the armory over on the side. This is just before the patch for the reduced hellbat damage. So going for hellbat drops on this map might work well. You have the ability to bounce between bases quite effectively and get the harassment off that you need to. I would have liked to seen a couple more marines come out and lifting up of the barracks to come and shoo away this overlord or take it out. It does give him a chance to see everything that essentially is exiting this base for the time being. Great positioning of these overlords as well. Is going to give him pretty good view of anything that's coming across the map. The only difference is this northern route here is still pretty shrouded. Would give him a great opportunity to move into some sort of hellbat play. We actually should see Hellions for the time being. I would expect to see some sort of hellbats here soon if he's going to invest in this, or at least get that +1 started. But I don't really expect Fantasy to be going into mech. That would just be too cool. Speed is finished for these Lings, so those Hellions are going to have to be a little bit more careful. Pretty good movement of this Overlord's going to be able to check out this whatever interstate that goes around the map. There's the hellbats now. Just wanted to get those 4 Hellions out on the map just to be able to make sure of what's going on around him. He's got to connect these bases with the creep. He's been really focusing on those injects, and that has delayed his creep spread quite a bit. I know there's quite a few Zergs that enjoy playing without creep these days, but when you're looking at having to defend in this little bubble, just at least creeping out the distance between these bases is very worthwhile. This hellbat has been completely unscouted, so I might actually be able to get in here and get a few shots off while the other Hellions run around the other way. This could actually be pretty effective here. Oh no, don't line them up. Shoot the drones. Probably could have picked up and went into the main, or killed some Zerglings. That's always friggin' nice. I actually would have not minded him staying there. Oh, go for it. Oh no! Oh, no! Chase him down! Oh, keep running. Great positioning too, just to finish it off. Real smart control. I want to see what we're at here. 25 workers killed, and about another 9 Zerglings after that. That's pretty good. That actually really just evened up the economy. The next command center from Fantasy isn't even on the way, so that really just helped save him from getting rolled over in the next 5 minutes, I think, if he didn't get that damage in. His economy's... I mean, worker-wise, he's the same right now, but as we're seeing these big drone productions, it's pretty... Ooh. Queens are in position down here, but that'd be pretty unfortunate to lose right now. We do have roaches on the way. One of the only really good things you can do to deal with the hellbat drops. Getting a crawler or a spore on your mineral line obviously helps slow things down. Ah, hey look! He is going with the marauders. I'm onto something here. Now, the thing is, if DRG was paying attention, this Overlord should have allowed him, I think, to have seen most of what was moving out. He does have a lot of roaches and banelings, which marauders do very well with against both. But there's quite big numbers here, and it's what the economy of DRG has afforded him, is to get out a pretty good sized army. Pretty bad clumping of these units here, though. Those banelings actually got in a lot of work. And DRG takes a pretty good supply lead there. It's just, even though banelings aren't that great against marauders, when you have them all clumped up in a circle, and you can just drive your banelings through, yeah, you're not going to have a good time. You know, that's kind of the bottom line there. But I think Fantasy's comfortable with this, because he's keeping the pressure on the Zerg as opposed to the other way around. Now, how many banelings left here now? Yeah, and the Zerg can't afford to get off creep yet. His speed is almost done for his banelings and his roaches, which is going to help him out considerably. This 4th base still isn't up, but we even have, yeah, we at least have a command center almost wrapped up here for Fantasy. Handful of more banelings happening. Once again, we see the Terran able to use this really, you know, good choke points to be able to move his army around in. And there's no anti-air, which is really silly to watch this Overseer just sitting right on top, knowing exactly what's going on. There's a Spire on the way now for DRG, which I think could be a smart move. I think, yeah, economy-wise, he's invested a lot of gas into his other tech. But by the time that Spire pops, he might be able to bank up enough gas. You can see he's already up to about 600. He might be able to get out a really critical just mass of of banelings, not banelings, of mutas to be able to crush through. We do have stim and concussive shells for these, so the roaches are going to get pretty worked up. I don't think he should be afraid to trade marauders into these banelings at all. Every trade he can take for that is him spending gas on stuff very poorly. One last shot off, just for good measure. It's not too often you see this mid-game marauder-centric army. A lot of their current metagame is Ling, Baneling, and Mutalisk, which, I mean, you need the hellbats to deal with the Lings, otherwise the Lings would be the perfect strategy. But against the Mutalisks, there really isn't much, and he should be able to pop 9 or so out as soon as he's ready to. Sexy. I don't think I've ever seen somebody take out this base before. It's kind of a hidden base. It's not the easiest next base to take. So it might just be a bit of a prayer by DRG to keep it. He's not even spreading creep that way. So it's a little bit of a risk. DRG's pulled together a pretty big army lead and 11 mutas with +1 on the way. And there's almost no anti-air in here. We got 6 marines. I mean, they do have 1-1 in a couple of seconds here. Actually, 30 seconds. Might not even be ready by the time these mutas push. Finally, we're getting that creep spread along the front. Should be able to get stifled here by Fantasy. Sticking close to the lawn chairs. I want to make sure he doesn't get too bad of a surface area against his units. I don't know if he saw the Mutalisks. If he did, I think he'd be pulling this army back further. We don't have any missile turrets up in the main. So we're about to potentially see some pretty big economic damage happen against Fantasy. Let's see how well he can react to this ball. 10 mutas. Still a couple more in production as well. Looks like DRG wants to get up a pretty critical number of these. Not the fastest pull. Oh man, that's so much damage. And that's all the marine coverage. He might actually have been able to just take on those marines. I don't mind him trying to get on top of some more of these SCVs simply because a lot of them were in the red. Big push coming in right now for DRG. This is not a planetary. If it was, this is probably a much easier task to try to defend. Another big pile of lings on the way out. He might just try to overmake banelings and crash into here, which would be really, really fun. One badly rallied muta there. These mutas are buying him a little bit of time here to be able to shore up. This would be a good opportunity if Fantasy knows the mutas over here to maybe try to sneak a hellbat around. Some widow mines are mixed in here now. Banelings are crashing into marauders, and even though it's not cost effective, it sure is doing some damage. Bunker goes down, but it did its job essentially. There's no more banelings in here to really deal. Kind of a panic time for Fantasy right now. He's got this big bank of money that he needs to spend. He needs to get down some more production facilities, and I would suggest a few more missile turrets. Just because you know that DRG is capable of doing those run-bys with his mutas and getting in a ton of damage. Actually got himself quite a few workers killed with that. Once again, this base, yeah, there's no indication from Fantasy that there's even a base up there. So it's going to leave him in a pretty tough spot. Still producing more mutas as well. +1 has finished for the mutas. Some of his other upgrades are a little bit delayed. +2 armor's on the way, but +1 melee is just finishing up right now. Now, I think what Fantasy is hoping is that this pressure he's putting in on the front will force the mutas to come and engage back here. But it looks as though DRG is convinced he's got enough units at home maxed out now to deal with this push, and at the same time is going to push in, and there was only the one missile turret here to help defend. Kind of a crappy time to lift up the Widow Mines. Drilling Claws is not quite finished yet. Wow, I'm sort sorry about my computer going really slow. It's just the way nature of the beast. Not great micro out of Fantasy down here. He's trying to multitask pretty heavy against the attack back at home. Another pretty good Widow Mine hit there. Drilling Claws is now finished. There's no detection with this army, so I think DRG is going to disengage for now. Might have had enough to really press in there, but he doesn't know how many Widow Mines are there, and if he had kept pushing without the detection, could have ended up losing his whole army. And the really big advantage he has, he doesn't have that big bank. And I'm surprised he hasn't taken this base yet. I know he snuck that one up to the north here, but just for the sake of Yun Main, you know, running out here as we speak, and the natural getting pretty beat up too, taking that fourth base pretty soon just seems logical to me. He's getting defenses up here for this base. It's just not a bad idea, but if this ever is spotted, there's almost no way he's going to defend it in time. I don't know if those defenses are necessarily that important. +2 is now on the way for the mutas. DRG's maxed for a while right now, and the Terran is just about mined out in his main. The only reason he hasn't is because he got hit pretty bad by a couple of muta run-bys. A little bit of cat and mouse right now with these mutas. They're looking to find something good to pick off, but don't really want to get trapped out there by the Terran army. A couple of good Widow Mine hits or a really good stim in with some Marines would end up having a lot of damage. There's 2 Widow Mines in this. Let's see how clumped up he gets here. Well, got some pretty good damage in, but unfortunately, there's still nothing else here to really deal with this. So it looks like his Fantasy's queued. I thought he was going to move in with this, but no, he's still pretty stable back there. Looks like we had some pretty significant Widow Mine hits there. DRG supplies dropping very, very rapidly. Some pretty good baneling hits. There's still a lot of marauders in this army to soak up damage. We see the burrows on the way right now, so we might be able to get away with some really good burrowed baneling attacks. We see him pulling back the Marines, and there's been virtually no micro on these individual banelings. They're getting picked off pretty easily. It's interesting to see this continued roach play from DRG. I mean, their cost effectiveness goes down so much as the game goes on. They're tanky. I mean, you always have that opportunity, so you can tank and trade with those armies while the banelings do the work. But if these Widow Mines get out the banelings, the roaches get slaughtered through. Back at home, still not much more investment into defense. 3 Widow Mines. 2 Widow Mines did a lot of damage. Maybe I'll luck out with 3. Going to stim in lots of Widow Mines, spread out nicely here. Should be able to get a cancel on his base. I think he feels like that is the 4th base of the Zerg, and actually he's keeping himself on a level playing field. Unfortunately for him, though, he's probably not aware. We'll see how much my computer can handle the amount of craziness that's happening. A lot of mishits with those Widow Mines, sitting down single Zerglings as opposed to getting the clumps. Once again, the detection got taken out by the Widow Mines, which is kind of a mixed blessing. I mean, that's not ideal, but it is kind of funny when that happens that way. More reinforcements come in. Got to be very careful of these banelings. +2 attack is not finished from them yet, but obviously they're going to do a ton of damage. I think Fantasy really needed to do good on this trade here, and I think because he hasn't, I think because Fantasy didn't get a good trade, he's going to be in a pretty tough spot right now. It's just the economy from DRG is going to persist longer here. There's no splash damage to really deal. There's no marauders to hit in on these roaches. And the baneling hits have been just a little bit too good. He's trading away a lot of his mutas there, though. He's got to be very careful. Those are a little bit too expensive to risk throwing away. Let's push the terran all the way back now. And would allow him to... Oh, that's not the right time to drop those mules. That's a little unfortunate for Fantasy. I think he's pretty much done for, but we all know that Fantasy never likes leaving games till the very last minute. So I expect nothing different in this game. Finally, some detection in here will help track down those widow mines. Yeah, that's about GG. Fantasy's making the best stand he can here. 15 more mutas on the way, plus 2 mutas. Sorry, that's a roach. Yeah, 2-0. One last good widow mine shot on the way out. Does save the command center. Happily enough. Not quite creeping on the right spot, but pretty close. Now, I don't like just saying that somebody like Fantasy is just dead. I mean, you never like saying that. He should be repairing this thing, though. What he really needs is some really sick widow mine hits just to hope to stabilize. This main command center is going to have to lift and move over to a new base soon. He can't afford to build a new one. He's still making 10 marines at a time, and 3-3 is about to finish up. If this attack gets delayed just a little bit and that 3-3 finishes, he might be doing just a little bit better when it comes down to this attack here. Pretty close call with that there, Flock. Wow. Both widow mines still end up getting their shots off, and that's quite a bit of damage. I don't know if DRG is going to want to risk moving in just yet. Funny enough, if that first widow mine managed to shoot, he probably would have actually killed maybe even 10. Just a one hit. Everybody's swimming, everybody's having a good time. Ooh, we had one really sick widow mine hit in there somewhere. Most of the banelings are gone, and that's the important part there. The mutas are pretty badly beaten up. One baneling just chilling. Zergling scouting for information. Pretty good. Well, Fantasy's still alive. I mean, it's always that. Now that he saw a unit burrow there, I'm sure he's quite convinced. Does he still have his widow mines in here? He does. Let's see how lucky he can get here. Dece. Killing supply depots kind of sucks, but Fantasy has almost no supply right now, so I'm sure that's not the worst thing that can happen. Wonder if you'll see who got kills. 6 kills in that widow mine. Moving over to the edge. 1 kill. How many kills do you get? That's it, 1? Oh, they only killed 8 mutas. I thought it looked like they killed a lot more than that with those shots. So yeah, Fantasy still alive. Zerg does have down a brand new base and a transfer. So he's doing alright. These burrowed units pretty much tell the story of exactly what's going on. 4 widow mines at a time, which I think is wise. It's going to really come down to great widow mine hits. And I'm sure DRG is kind of frustrated at this point. He's thrown a couple of really big armies at the Terran player. Just hasn't been able to close it out. Now it looks like he wants to swing around here and cancel any type of 4th base, but still hasn't moved over there yet, so. Is he on Hive Tech yet? He is on Hive Tech. A little surprising he hasn't moved into any type of Ultralisk just yet. A couple of units don't really want to get caught out on the map too far. running forward a good little chunk of Zerglings. You can hear Fantasy lifting and lowering his Widow Mine so that way they don't shoot on the wrong units. I think that's finally done it though. I think he's finally... I thought he's been dead for 10 minutes. Let's just say that. Now he's finally gotten to a point where I don't think he can stop this. "11 kills, 1 Widow Mine, 8 on the other. They're doing the best they can. I'm sure everybody just talks about how Fantasy never leaves games. And how frustrating that can be. But now he's on the production facility. The Terran's mining nothing. He's lost his other command center. And then you can't really fault people for wanting to do that. I mean, you have every right to play as long as you can, but at some point you just know you're dead. Anyways, good game by DRG over Fantasy. This is from the group stages action of the WCS qualifiers. Thank you everybody for tuning into SeKo Starcraft, and we will talk with you later.